The cameras flashed, the crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession. Welcome to Starscope Report.
Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
We really do. And today, we are doing a deep dive into a headline that is absolutely shaking up the industry. 3 major Marvel projects are set for the 2028 slate, and it is entirely changing the game.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, the internet's basically on fire right now.
Seriously. And to get to the bottom of this, we're pulling from a massive stack of sources today. We've got official Wikipedia tracking data, industry reporting from Dark Horizons and Murphy's Multiverse.
Right, and we're looking at the Comic-Con announcements via Popverse and the Tribune, plus, checking the pulse of the fans on Comic Book Movie and Reddit.
Exactly, because our mission today isn't just to, read off a list of release dates. Anyone can do that.
Right. Nobody wants just a calendar.
No. We are uncovering the strategic machinery behind this 2028 slate. We're exploring how these 3 very specific films, the X-Men, Ghost Rider, and Black Panther III, represent this hard reset for the franchise.
It's a total macro shift. They are finally prioritizing quality over quantity after the whole multiverse saga wrapped up.
Yeah, which is so needed. Have you ever walked into one of those massive restaurants where they hand you a menu that is literally 10 pages long?
Oh my gosh, yes. The worst. It's like a novel.
Right. And by page 3, you're overwhelmed. By page 6, you're exhausted. And by the time you reach page 10, you don't even want to eat anymore.
You're just full on bread and anxiety at that point.
Exactly. And for the past few years, keeping up with the Marvel Cinematic Universe has felt exactly like staring down that 10-page menu. But today, we're looking at a slate that has been radically simplified.
Yeah, the sheer volume of data across all our sources points to this profound operational pivot. The era of relentless expansion is officially over.
So before we get to the mutants or the flaming skulls, we kind of need to understand the corporate mandate that's forcing this new look, right?
Yeah, and this directive comes straight from the top. Disney CEO Bob Iger has instituted a very strict production cap.
Which is wild because during the peak of the multiverse saga, they were pushing out, 4 movies a year?
4 theatrical releases a year. Yeah, running parallel to multiple high-budget streaming series. But Iger has mandated a ceiling now of 2 to 3 films annually. Max.
Oh, just cutting it down.
Yeah, and what's crucial here is the financial reality enforcing this. Kevin Feige, the head of Marvel Studios, confirmed that production budgets for the 2024 and 2025 releases were slashed by a third.
Wait, a full third compared to the 2022 and 2023 slate?
Yes, a whole third.
That is a staggering reduction. I mean, these are films that historically hover around the $250 million mark.
Exactly.
That fundamentally changes what actually makes it on screen. You can't rely on these massive, sprawling CGI third acts when you're suddenly missing $80 million.
Right, you have to actually tighten the script. You have to rely on practical character work. But the budget cuts are honestly just half the strategy.
Oh, really? What's the other half?
The other half is a complete overhaul of their quality assurance process. Because for a decade, Marvel relied on internal, friends and family test screenings.
Oh, right. And this was just on the Disney lot in Burbank.
Exactly. Exclusively on the lot.
Yeah.
Because the primary goal was always secrecy. They were terrified of leaks.
Which makes sense for spoilers, but the sources openly note a string of recent critical and financial failures. It seems like that secrecy just created a dangerous echo chamber.
Precisely. Because when your test audience is entirely composed of employees and their families, the feedback loop is compromised. You don't get brutal honesty, you get polite applause.
Yeah, nobody wants to tell their boss the movie is bad.
Right. So because of these recent stumbles, they've entirely abandoned that insulated model. They are now using the National Research Group, or NRG, to conduct blind testing with general audiences.
Wow, so they are finally subjecting their films to the harsh reality of public opinion before they lock the edit.
Exactly. Which leads right into Kevin Feige's overarching vision for this post-Secret Wars era. The sources quote him explicitly outlining the goal as a streamlined, simplified, single universe that audiences can keep up with.
I mean, to me, that is a glaring admission of guilt. By saying they need a universe people can keep up with, they're acknowledging that the barrier to entry had become insurmountable.
Yeah, they knew the homework was too much.
Right. It brings us back to that restaurant analogy. The 10-page menu is driving customers away, so they're tossing out the filler and focusing on 3 signature dishes. But let's look at the industry landscape for a second. because Feige specifically referenced Superman's ongoing success as proof that superhero fatigue isn't real. So is the audience actually exhausted by superheroes, or are they just exhausted by mediocre homework?
The data strongly suggests the latter. It's mediocrity fatigue. I mean, when a film delivers a cohesive, emotionally resonant story, the box office responds. Look at the hits.
Yeah, but when a movie functions primarily as a 2-hour trailer for 3 upcoming Disney Plus shows, the general audience just checks out.
Right. By shrinking the slate to a maximum of 3 distinct films, they're attempting to restore the event status of their releases. No more homework.
And that's not even the wildest part. Just wait until you hear who they are bringing in to kick off this new era.
Oh, this is the best part.
Setting the table for 2028 is the highly anticipated arrival of the mutants. On May 5, 2028, we are getting a brand new X-Men film.
Finally. I mean, Feige has been teasing this mutant era since Deadpool and Wolverine, but this is the official launch pad.
And the creative team they've assembled is highly indicative of the tone they're chasing. Jake Schreier, who recently directed Thunderbolts, is at the helm.
Right, but the screenwriting credits are where the true intent lies. The script is drafted by Lee Seung-jin and Joanna Kalo.
Wait, the creative forces behind the prestige television series Beef?
Yes. Them alongside Michael Leslie.
Hiring the creators of Beef is such a specific choice. I mean, that show was a masterclass in intense, petty, deeply personal human conflict.
It was so stressful.
Yeah. That tells me they aren't just trying to make a movie about people shooting lasers out of their eyes. They're building a character-driven interpersonal drama.
And the casting announcements from Comic-Con totally back that up. It is a complete youthful reset. The roster they've secured is just formidable.
Okay, lay it on us.
All right, we are looking at Sadie Sink as Jean Grey, Kit Connor stepping in as Cyclops.
Oh, that's good.
Right. Christopher Abbott taking on Professor Charles Xavier, Samara Weaving as Emma Frost, Indy Navarrete as Rogue, Maya Boyd as Storm, and Adam Driver cast as Nathaniel Milbury.
Also known as the villain Mr. Sinister.
Exactly.
Now, Feige noted this will feature a completely recast team following an MCU reset in Secret Wars. He described it as a very youth-oriented movie, but there is a glaring narrative irony here. Marvel spent the entirety of the multiverse saga playing the greatest hits of the old Fox X-Men universe.
They really did.
We had Patrick Stewart rolling around in the hover chair, Hugh Jackman putting on the yellow suit, Kelsey Grammer popping up as Beast. They cashed in every single nostalgia chip they had.
Every last one.
And now, immediately after Secret Wars, they're executing a hard recast. How do you successfully introduce a brand new, younger Professor X right after reminding the audience how much they loved Patrick Stewart?
But it requires a drastic aesthetic and tonal departure. You know, the Fox X-Men films, they defined these characters for 2 decades, but they leaned heavily into a specific brooding atmosphere.
Oh, definitely. The black leather, the military-style operations.
Right. So by pivoting to a youth-oriented approach and utilizing writers, first in dark, interpersonal comedy and drama, Marvel is clearly shifting the focus to the school setting.
Okay, I see.
They're likely aiming for the soap opera dynamics of teenagers dealing with ostracization, puberty, and immense power. Resetting the universe via Secret Wars provides the narrative mechanism to rewrite the socio-political rules without being tethered to 20 years of continuity.
So they're essentially clearing the board so these new actors have room to breathe.
Exactly.
Which takes us to the second film on the slate, hitting theaters on July 28, 2028. And this is a massive departure from the big ensemble dynamic of the X-Men.
Oh, completely different vibe.
We're looking at a film driven almost entirely by a single A-list actor's specific passion. Ryan Gosling is starring as Ghost Rider.
With Sean Levy directing, fresh off the massive success of Deadpool and Wolverine. But the genesis of this project is highly unusual for Marvel's traditional pipeline.
Highly unusual is putting it mildly. Kevin Feige specifically told the Comic-Con crowd, and I quote, "It was Gosling who had the vision. It was Gosling who had the pitch that won over Sean."
That is so crazy to me.
Right. This wasn't a boardroom committee looking at a spreadsheet and deciding they needed a supernatural property for the third quarter. This was an Oscar-nominated actor walking into the studio and saying, "I want to play the guy with the flaming skull."
And honestly, this perfectly aligns with the new corporate mandate we discussed earlier. When an actor of Gosling's caliber initiates the project based on a personal creative vision, it naturally elevates the material.
Oh, for sure.
However, tracking the fan reactions across our sources reveals a stark divide regarding the viability of the character himself.
Yeah, it's pretty polarized. On one side, you have pure hype. Over on Reddit, Oscar Isaac, who plays Moon Knight, enthusiastically endorsed the casting.
What did it say?
He posted, "Make it happen, fellas. I mean, it's a no-brainer." He is openly pushing for a Midnight Suns project.
Oh, wow. Which, for anyone unfamiliar, the Midnight Suns are essentially Marvel's darker, supernatural team-up. Think the Avengers, but with monsters and magic.
Exactly. But then you look at the Dark Horizons article, and the skepticism is loud. Like, a user named Comic Bookle pointed out that the previous Nicolas Cage iterations from 2007 and 2011 were critical duds.
Yeah, they really were.
They questioned if Ghost Rider actually has enough narrative depth to carry a solo movie today.
And look, the skepticism is historically justified. Ghost Rider presents a unique adaptation hurdle.
How so?
Well, the visual of a stunt motorcyclist transforming into a skeleton of vengeance looks phenomenal on a comic book page. Translating that into a grounded, emotionally resonant 2-hour film is incredibly difficult, largely because your protagonist lacks a face for half the runtime.
Right. Ghost Rider is like a vintage muscle car with a custom flaming paint job. You look at it in the garage and think it's the coolest thing you've ever seen.
Best looking car on the block.
But a 2-hour movie is a cross-country road trip, and the script is the engine. Can a character whose primary trait is looking awesome actually drive a narrative arc without stalling out?
And that is the exact problem Gosling's pitch had to solve. To extend your analogy, Gosling is the mechanic hired to rebuild that engine.
Okay, I like that.
The fact that the pitch originated with him suggests he found the human tragedy anchoring Johnny Blaze. Because in screenwriting, when you're dealing with a heavily masked or CGI character, the human moments must carry double the emotional weight.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The challenge for Gosling and Levy isn't making the flaming skull look cool. It's ensuring the audience cares deeply about the man before his head ever catches on fire. They have to ground the supernatural spectacle in a very real, likely deadpan or tragic human performance.
If you're loving these Hollywood twists and deep dives, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead, and you won't want to miss them.
Seriously, hit that subscribe button, because later in the episode, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming.
Which brings us to the final film of the 2028 slate, scheduled for December 15th. We are moving from a brand new, supernatural anti-hero to the emotional continuation of one of Marvel's most beloved legacies.
Ryan Coogler is returning to direct Black Panther III.
Yes. Closing out a trilogy that carries an immense amount of cultural and emotional weight, both inside the narrative and in the real world.
And the news out of Comic-Con regarding this film contained a massive reveal.
The biggest one yet, honestly.
Yeah. David Johnson, who recently gave a phenomenal performance in Alien Romulus, has been cast as the adult version of T'Challa II.
Which, just for context, this character is the son of the original Black Panther, and we only just met him as a very young child at the end of Wakanda Forever.
Right. And Johnson gave a very touching quote about joining the family, thanking them for the honor and the privilege. But the timeline implications of casting a 32-year-old actor in this role are staggering.
I mean, are we staring down the barrel of another Endgame-style 5 to 10-year time jump? Because if you fast-forward the universe a decade, the collateral damage to the rest of the cast is huge.
It's a logistical nightmare.
Yeah. What happens to Letitia Wright's Shuri? She literally just took up the mantle of Black Panther after an incredibly grueling emotional journey. Does she just peacefully age out of the role off-screen to make room for her nephew?
Well, the conclusion of the multiverse saga provides a convenient narrative loophole for that. If Secret Wars involves the folding of time and the merging of different realities, which the comic source material heavily features, it grants writers the ability to instantaneously age characters.
Oh, so they just alter histories without waiting in real time.
Exactly. It allows Coogler to immediately tell a story about a mature king stepping into his father's shoes.
But looking at the storytelling mechanics of that, it feels like a cheat.
You think so?
Kind of, yeah. By instantly aging up a child character, you are skipping the chapters of the book where the hero actually earns their title. We watched Tony Stark suffer in a cave to build his suit. We watched Steve Rogers throw his skinny body on a grenade before he ever got the serum.
Right, the origin struggle.
Yeah. If T'Challa II is magically an adult, ready to lead, doesn't that rob the audience of the emotional journey of watching him fail, learn, and grow into the role?
It is a significant risk, absolutely. But there is a very specific screenwriting mechanism at play here. When a character's physical capability is a given, whether through a time jump or altered reality, the narrative real estate normally spent on learning how to fight is reallocated.
Reallocated to what?
To learning how to lead. Coogler is likely bypassing the physical origin story to focus entirely on the psychological burden of legacy.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, T'Challa II didn't just inherit a geopolitical title. He inherited the shadow of a legendary father, both in-universe and out. The tension shifts from external survival to internal worthiness.
So it's more of a heavy Shakespearean approach.
Exactly. It allows an actor of Johnson's caliber to tackle the emotional weight of the crown immediately, without spending an entire movie training in a gym.
Wow. Okay, that reframes the entire movie for me. It's not about how he becomes Black Panther. It's about whether he can survive the weight of being Black Panther. So, looking at this entire 2028 slate, the youthful X-Men, Gosling's passion project Ghost Rider, and the legacy-heavy Black Panther III. The through line is clear. Why does this matter to you, listening right now? Because it is a massive course correction designed to respect your time.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because this industry is shifting fast.
It really is. The barrier to entry is intentionally being lowered here. You will no longer need a spreadsheet and a Disney Plus subscription just to understand the opening crawl of a movie.
The studio is finally recognizing that audience goodwill is finite. By shrinking the output and focusing on distinct, character-driven narratives, they are attempting to rebuild trust. Whether it's the interpersonal drama of mutants, the human tragedy of a cursed stuntman, or the psychological weight of a royal legacy.
But looking at the sources, there's one final provocative question we have to consider before we wrap up.
Ooh, what is it?
We know Secret Wars is the catalyst for this 2028 slate. We know it's being used to streamline the universe, age up characters like T'Challa II, and clear the board for a completely recast mutant era.
Right, the hard reset.
But if Marvel hits the reset button this hard to make the universe accessible again, does that mean the last 10 years of continuity are about to be permanently erased from canon?
Oh, wow. That is a terrifying thought for the fans.
Right. If they use the multiverse to wipe the menu completely clean, do the emotional arcs we've all invested our time in even matter anymore? It's definitely something to chew on before you buy your next ticket.
It really is.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.